Then we had UCF going on the road at number 24, Cincinnati. And Cincinnati had a lot to prove because for some reason they weren't in the top 25 after their upset over Iowa State. And then Iowa State was still ranked. Very strange AP last week, but they are in now, and they beat UCF at home. It was a very solid performance. And the final score will even tell you that it was a little closer than it was. It'll say 20-11. UCF got 8 garbage time points in the fourth. Like Cincinnati had control of this one. Brendan Sorsby threw 2 touchdowns, almost 200 yards. Cincinnati's great. Their only losses to Nebraska at a neutral site, 5-1. Cincinnati's really good, Jack. And I think they're kind of back to where, not necessarily their dominance that they were at when they made the playoff a few years back, but they're definitely back to being a really respectable team, Jack.
Yeah, they absolutely are. I mean, they really controlled this game completely and really showed that they absolutely need to be ranked.
Mm-hmm.
Last week against Iowa State was so impressive. So good to see that they can keep this train rolling.
Right.
They're kind of reclaiming that spot as one of the teams to watch for that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But very impressive game for sure.
Right. And I mean, it's really huge for Cincinnati that their one loss is out of conference against a team like Nebraska. And with Texas Tech kind of running away, being the favorite in the Big 12, it's really, we were expecting it to be a lot more strange, where I feel like the Big 12 and the SEC are really kind of flipped this time, where it feels like the SEC, it's anybody's conference. And this one, it feels like there's one or two, like top favorites, that being Texas Tech. But now, like Cincinnati and BYU are big ones, both being undefeated in conference. And then teams like Utah with only loss to Texas Tech, Arizona State with only loss to Utah, although it was bad, but they didn't have their quarterback. But we'll get to that game. Anyways, there's a lot of really good teams in the Big 12, and not like really good teams, but it's fairly deep to think of who's the number 2 team. Because it feels like, okay, Texas Tech's number 1. We know that. But it's like, who's the number 2? Cincinnati knocked off who was then the number 2 in Iowa State, and they kind of took their spot. BYU's still there, though. The Big 12 is really interesting, but I feel like we're starting to figure it out a lot more because I feel like we kind of know who the best team is for sure. And then it's all about who's really going to play them in that championship game, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really Texas Tech's conference to lose right now. Utah is
Mm-hmm.
definitely up there for sure. I would probably give it to them over Cincinnati right now. They did get exposed in that Texas Tech game, but it's Texas Tech. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
blow out everyone. I mean, this next week,
Oh
Texas
my
Tech
gosh, yeah.
plays Arizona State next week, and
Right.
it's not going to be pretty, I can tell you that. I would say I would probably give Utah the edge over Cincinnati, even though
Right.
Cincinnati has probably looked better week to week. But Utah really bounced back from that game,
Mm-hmm.
and they look really impressive. Especially, I know Arizona State didn't have their quarterback, but still, as a whole team, Utah just completely exposed them.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say Utah is definitely
Right.
in contention with that Big 12 title for sure.
Right. Yeah, I think they got to be. And I mean, when your one loss is to Texas Tech, like that's a really great conference loss. And then also you see what Texas Tech is doing to every other team. And I know the final score will tell you that Texas Tech kind of ran Utah out of the building. And even though they did, it was close for a lot of the game. And no one has really been able to do that against Texas Tech. Utah was able to. So Cincinnati, they do control their own destiny now. Being undefeated in conference at this point in the year is huge. And they've had a lot of huge victories over Iowa State, over Kansas on the road by a field goal. Like, Cincinnati's pretty good. And we'll really have to see when they get into some of these games because they go on the road at Utah. They host BYU, on the road at TCU. They host Arizona. They host Baylor. Like, as far as Big 12 schedules go, which I know they're not crazy schedules, and I know a lot of, like, people say they're cupcakes. I remember after that Texas Tech Utah game, they were like, both teams don't have a ranked team left on the schedule at the time. I'm like, that's crazy. Where it's like, as far as Big 12 schedules go, Cincinnati's is pretty difficult, but so far they've been able to handle it, and they're starting to put themselves in that conversation for a Big 12 championship spot in that game.